Welcome to Yeshiva Daf Shir sponsor Nishma Sam Yakashom Basitzchok. We're holding in over the Zara Daf Chav Tes. We're starting Daf Chav Chesem with base in the bottom, 4 lines in the bottom until we got to yesterday. Omar Yudo Ziburo v'decharze siloi v'samto v'tekayv lo ene v'oso elai shoso. He's mentioning here a few different sicknesses, and he's talking about Ziburo is a, what will be a translation to our school? There's not a bee, a wasp. Yeah, the hornet. Or a thorn. Vesiloi, another type of thorn. Vesamto, right? Or the chazir, someone who a thorn went into him. And the samto, which is the blister. He has a pain in his eye. Shofi has a fever. Kulu beiboni sakanto. If you go to the Beis Hamikdash, it's sakana. Chamo, now, right? That's what it is. Now, chamo l'cham. In order to heal something which has to do with heat, I mean like fevers, it's better to use itsnoin. So it is reddish, which is hot. It would be hot. Vesilko, which is a tered, which is beets, that's litzino. That's for when a person has a cold. Vechilu v'sakanto, you switch it around, that's not good. Chamimi la'akro v'kari l'zibur. For a scorpion, you need to put hot water. For a hornet, you need to put it cold. Vechilu v'sakanto, you switch it around, it's a sakana. Toys brings over here, what the Gemara brings in Chagigo, then what is tsaros rabos? It means when you have a person who was bitten both by a hornet and by a scorpion. If he puts cold, it's not good for one of them. Put hot, it's not good for the other. So that's the worst.
Get bitten in the same exact spot.
Same area. Hot water is for the for a thorn. The kariri is when dav. The chaspinito is cracks in the face. You switch it around, it's not good. Chalo l'siburi, yeah, vinegar is for when a person draws blood. Umanini, which is fish, l'taniso. Someone is fasting. V'chilufo sakanto, you switch it around, it's a sakana. To eat chalo after a fast, or to eat fish after you draw blood. Takle v'siburo, if a person eats cholim again, crest, and he takes out blood, sakanto. Ishoso v'siburo, which means he has fever in siburo, sakanto. Koiv eino v'sibure, he has pain in his eye and he takes out blood, sakanto. Sheini ledag dam. What comes before you eat the fish? So the day before you take a blood, you eat fish. Shein ledam dak, right? So if you do after, in other words, the order is you have to eat fish before you take a blood, and after you take a blood. Shlishi lo sakanta. But if you have have it 2 days, not shein shlishi, so that's sakana. So we have a different inyanim which is sakana or not. Someone who draws blood, lo yoichal chagbash. What's chagbash? Lo cholov, not milk. Lo gvi, not cheese. Lo bitzolim, onions. Velo shcholim, crest. I'm achal. Omar Abaye nesi. If he did eat, nesi v'yoso dechal of yoso decharmo, a revis of vinegar and revis of wine. V'nei revinu be'ad adadi. You should mix it together. Finishti, and then he should drink. When he goes to the bathroom, should go to the east. Should the kosher because it smells very bad, and the wind goes to the west. So I want it to be the wind go to the east because the west will not have wind and it won't take it out going into the city. Can bring up unkali. My unkali. Maybe abo is tumcho de libo. Some kind of heart muscle. Maya suso, how you heal it. Maisi kimuno kiruyo venino, which means you bring Rashi learns kimuno kiruyo means a full hand fist And Kimuni career is hand fist. The box says a little differently. Fininyo means mint. Ve'agadno, which is a type of bitter grass. Fitzirtzi ve'avato. Right, and he puts it in Azov. Lilibo bechamro. So if it's because of the heart bone, so you do it, you drink wine. The wine is healing for the heart. Lerucho, but if it's for rucho, Rashi calls shachefes, type of a sickness, bemayo, then you use water, not wine. Simonach v'ruach elokim rechefes al bnei hamayim. So simon, the ruach is healed with water. Lekudo, bekudo, what's kudo? Kudo is when a woman is giving birth and she gets cold while she's giving birth. That's called b'shikha. You put that in this items into vinegar. Simonach v'kodo al shichmo. How do you have the right? Because kado is loshen kudo and shichmo is like shichmo. It reminds you of shichmo. He grind them all together. He took if shakal, he was way to go with all 5 fingers, and drink it. Each one on his own. He did the he held it on whatever he could fit between his small finger and the agudol biachat, and the big finger together. And that's what he ate. So different ways to do it. You either do all 5 together, you do each one on his own, and hold it with the 2 fingers. I did all this, then it wasn't healed. I don't let you tie until the Shishmei told me, I see kuzo chadato, take a small vessel which is new, umal yamai, fill with water, v'rami be tarvodo de dusho, a full spoon of honey, the tali lo be kukve, which which is hanging in between the stores, in other words, outdoors. And then drink it. So I did this healing and I was healed. The 6th thing, the heal is sick, and it really work. Kruv is cabbage. Retardine, crest, right? That's correct. Crest, beets. Umesisim and yevesha. So it's water that comes from this thing called poop. Rashi calls it pluyul. You put it into water. The kevas, which is the stomach. The horas is the womb of the animal. The Yisera Sakovet is the part of the diaphragm. The Yeshoyim have dogim ktanim. Also, small fish is a healing. The Lord the shadom ktanim mafrim environment called shoulder. It makes a person, his body be parve b'rava, mean good for the body. What? Sardines. There's 10 things that bring a person back to be sick, and then his sickness is making even worse. He eats the meat. What? Fatty ox meat, or besar tzli, or roasted meat. Besar tziporim, or meat of a bird. Ubeitz tzluyo, and roasted egg. V'shcholim, crest, v'tiglach, and then v'tiglachas, he shaves his hair, he takes a haircut. Umerchot, so he goes into the bathhouse. V'gvino v'kovet, and he eats cheese and liver. V'shorim v'goizim, also eating nuts. V'shorim kishuim, which is gourds. So these things are not good for someone who's sick. It's harmful for a person like having swords in his body. Okay, so with this we end the refuahs that have to do with this part of Shas, and we did mention yesterday's daf idea of refuahs, which we also said in this Shom HaShon daf Ayin Sham. You can't take a haircut from a goy anywhere. You can look at the mirror when he's taking a haircut from a goy. When a Jew is giving a haircut to a guy, once he gets to the bloiris, which is it's like a tight ponytail, he does it for Zara, showing his ear doesn't touch it. You look at the mirror. If it's a what does he need a mirror? If you say Yochid, Kiroy Ma'av, does help him? Can still kill him. Says the Lord Yochid. He looks, he sees, he has a mirror. Oh, it's a choshev person who looks in the mirror. The Tosis brings over here that the only time you can use the mirror is only when you take a haircut from a guy. Why? When you don't take a haircut from a guy, you can't use a mirror because it's lo yilbash. It's what women do, not men. Men should not look in the mirror. And this is brought down in Allah. And this opens a discussion when we look at the mirror today. Is that today considered to be also something which is a lo yilbash or not? Or today we say it's different. So the place you say if people are used to in that area to look at the mirror, even though they're men, it's not lo yilbash. But the source of this, the Gekudah, is the place over here. Says the Gemara, Rav Chano bar Biznam mistapim of Kechovim b'shvil denardo. He took a haircut from a guy in the pathways of Nardo. Omar le Chano yoei kuyech le zugo. Right. In other words, it says your neck is good for the Avoda Zara. Right. He says, as he says, for the razor. I didn't listen to a mayor. I said, don't take a haircut from a guy. And I'm taking a haircut, and I'm basically endangering myself. If I had a bun over, what about a bun? Even though I'm a bun, we should happy. They say you can take a rishab. So this, we understand, Shvili Dinardo is considered to be Rishus Hayachid. So the Gemara, who saw Rishus Dinardo, found the Shchichi Rami, Rishus Ramdam, even though it's a Din Rishus Hayachid, but because many people pass by, it's Rishus. In other words, it's not a Din Rishus Rabbi. But the Legabe this case. So he has to remove stop giving a haircut once he reaches the blurries, the ponytail, which the use of the Zara. So more of a kamo. How much distance he has to have before the blurries? 3 fingers to every side. Shiput, Shvachos, Vigumos. These are 3 Mishnayos. What's with 3? We're quoting 3 different sugyas. The one who went and explained it over there was Ramalchia. And Beloiris, Erev Makle, Vigvino, Beloiris is our case, and Makle is the green is 2 other Mishnayos, Ramalchia. They're Ramalchia. In other words, there's mamers of Ramalchia with a vav, and there's Ramalchia with a hey. Just to remember which one it is, he says these 3 belong to Ramalchia, and these 3 belong to Ramalchia. He says no. Whatever is a Mishnah or Brisa, which means, as Rashi explains, that he's coming to explain a Mishnah, that's Ramalchia with a hey. Whatever is a Shmaitzo, which means it's not a Mishnah, that's Ramalchia with a Vov. For Simonach Mastiso Malkaso. Sis is Loshen Akeva. So and a Malchia with a hey is like Loshen Akeva. Remember, the Brisa belongs to a Malchia with a hey. Marbinayu, Ikevinayu Shvachos. That Shvachos, the Shaila who said Shvachos. Vika said that Shvachos said by Ramalchiyoi, and according to the other man, the Shvachos said by Ramalchiyoi because it's a Brisa. And you have a discussion, Rashi brings it over here, and I can go into right now. Toises brings, then the other 3 you have, Blurs are Makle Gvino, and from Makle is a Shmaitza, not a Brisa. Shaila, if both change, in other words, if they all agree that 3 were said by Ramalchiyoi, 3 Ramalchiyoi, question of which one is which, or they don't both change, only that one specific one, which is Shvachos, that's the only one that we have a discussion. If it's, in other words, is it 3 and 3 or is it 4 and 2 that was said divided through Ramalchi Ramalchi. So the Mishnah Lachoftes at one pace. Now we're getting to the most negea l'chmais l'chura and hilchos of Kechovim that we have today, and that is what yain esach. Right? Stam Yainum. This is where we get to it. We're just going to talk about the following things of a guy is a surim, the surim yisrael, and the asur, and now enjoy it all. What is it? Hayain, the wine. V'achoymitz, the vinegar, shav the kechovim. Shamit chilosu yain. It used to be wine. Because if it's vinegar to begin with, then we don't have a problem. But if it was wine before, so we have a problem. The Gemara's going to ask, Pshita, what's a chiddush? Of course, if it was wine, so we already had a problem. Maybe it's a yain esach, as we'll see in a moment. So so once it became vinegar, it got spoiled. Why should it change? Vecheres hadaryoni, which they put wine into it. They put water into this cheres and wine comes out from it. Ve'oiris levuvim. What levuvim is they make a hole in front of the heart of the living animal and they pull out the heart. They put whatever there's are. If it's round, also. But it's mashuch mutter because that's not for the zara. You have a meat that goes into a goy, it's mutter. Why? Meaning, if it's going in, when you have while when it came out, I'm choishish that they used it for Haktorah to have a desire. Calls when it come out, we don't say that. Tibia Akiva. Ha'ilchim letarfus also asetayimoim va'aboyim motar. So the people that go to Rashi calls it toes of his kachovim lemerachok. They're going to some, they're going to like a liel regal by the Zara. You're not allowed to do business with them. But if they came back, so you're rather they're going to know to their desire when they go there. One thing very important over here before we go on is the Tosfos says, what is let's leave that when we get to the Gemara. The Tosfos is going to be speaking on the first line of the Gemara, so let's get over there.
Why did they come back?
Because now they're not going to be moed of desire anymore. When they're on their way to the what's called when you go up to pilgrimage, then they're going to go there. They're going to say thank you to the Zara. Once they come back, you're fine. You have the barrels, type of barrels, or made out of leather of a goy, and the kankan, which is made out of clay. And you have a Jewish wine in it. Why? Because it has you choishish for the wine of a goy. You're not allowed to drink it. There's not a surah. No, we'll see the Gemara why. Hachartsonim ve'azogim, which is the. I don't remember. We'll see that in the Gemara if he's because we're choishish that the goy will use it. I'm not sure, or because they can absorb it. With the wine. Yeah.
Here, it's not a question of the guy did something. It's like this the Jews wine went into the guy's
right. I don't remember now. The Gemara is in discussion. I don't know. We have to go. We'll get there. Oh yeah, the chatzayim is the pselis of grapes in the pits. Holds that they also do that as the yain esech. When they're moist, when they're not dry, then they also. If they don't use that. Hamurias, that which is like a fish oil. Figvines based unaiki type of cheese. Shavet kachavim asurim. Misurim misurano di Rameir says asur. All this we're going to see the machlekes. Why is that so? What's exactly the machlekes? So Yeshua asked Yeshua when they're going on the way. Why do they say that the cheese of a goy is asur? Because they put the cheese into a kavo, into the stomach of a nevela, and the cheese basically absorbs the nevela. What do you mean? The cave of oil is even more chum. Why is that so? Because a nevela you can enjoy. Oil you're not allowed to enjoy. You could go and you can drink it. If it is a kier, he could drink from the cave. The liquid which is in the cave, you could drink it. He didn't agree to him to drink it this way. We should not enjoy the liquid which is in the cave, but there's no meila either. Why? Because whatever is in there, because it's not part of the cave itself. So the liquid in the cave is not considered part of the cave. So here you're telling me that when you put into the cave the cheese, it absorbs the taste. Here by oilo, we said is no meila, and here you're saying it's becoming also. It's called pure shubbe alma, as Rashi says. When they used to put this basically like a type of milk that they put into the cave. Cheese. Not because nevela. Nevela, you're right. Now we're not going to do so much. But they put it into the cave, they did it for the Zara. And then you're not, that is a problem because when you have, it makes it look full, and merely it's used for the Zara, and we'll see more about it in the Gemara, but basically when you're using it for the Zara, then it becomes awesome. If so, if you're chosh for the Zara, So why are you saying that the according to Rabbanon does not also no? Why is that so? He sealed the So that's what Rabbi Shmuel asked Rabbi Shmuel. And Rabbi Shmuel did not want to answer. It was Mesi Davar. So he told him something else. How do you read the following pasuk? So according to Rashi, the shaila is: do you read this pasuk b'loshen zocher b'loshen akev? Is it ketuvim dodecha miyayin? Meaning the Am Yisrael talking to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, or is it ketuvim dodayich miyayin? Hakadosh Baruch Hu talking to Am Yisrael. Is the male speaking to the female speaking to the male? That's the shaila according to Rashi. Amaloi ketuvim dodecha. Ketuvim dodayich. Sorry, you want to say loshen akev. Look at the next pasuk. It says over there, "Lereach shmonecha toivim," right? Because it said "lereach shmonecha." So we're also saying over here, the Rashi says, the because you don't say "reach shmonecha" by the cave. You say only to the zachar. So you talk about the zachar. That's for sure about the zachar. That's how you answer the question. Now here there is an interesting shaila, the tshuva, the Tashbitz wants to say, wants to bring a rad from here. That they didn't have they were not so the service of the nikud of the nikudas were not so clear to them. That's why they had a svekis. The decha, the daich, they didn't have a nikud. They weren't have such a great service. Discussion about that. Just to mention, Mamish briefly, we don't want to go a little ahead. Is that the Vilna Gaon has a pshat in this Mishnah that we'll be speaking about in the Shul Machshon and Daf. But just to mention it briefly, it's only one like such things like a Vilna Gaon. A Vilna Gaon on a Mishnah, so it's like it's brought down straight to Leo and end of Seder's drawing. The Vilna Gaon want to say that the suffix wasn't if it's male or female, but the question is the Tevin Dudecha referring to Tevin Dudecha miyayin, meaning is or we because as the Gemara is going to dash and we'll see in the Gemara later, this is talking Torah Shabbat Peh. Is Torah Shabbat Peh greater than Torah Shabbat Ktav? Tevin Dudecha miyayin more than wine? Or it's a Tevin Dudecha, comma. Miyayin is something else like wine. In other words, are we comparing it more or not? And that's just going to be the answer. This fits very much more later, where we're saying that Divrei Seifrim is greater than Divrei Torah. The Binyad also explains why is he saying that, because he's saying what happened was Rabbi Shmuel was basically questioning Rabbanon. He said, I don't understand this Gzera de Rabbanon. So he told him, you should know that Gzera de Rabbanon, we respect it even though we don't always understand it. Says the Gemara Yain Minal. How do we know the Yain is also? Just to mention over here, the Tosfos points out that we have here two Gzeras of Yain. We learned that wine, the reason why you don't have wine is because of they don't want people to get close to their daughters. So it's a Gzera de Rabbanon should be saying. And now you're going to bring another Indian over here because of Yain Nesech. So Tosfos says we need to have both. We'll say we have to have these two Gzeras. We don't have time. Let's just see quickly the next few lines and we'll end with that. Says the Gemara, the wine of Nesech, and we learn from here it's also wine. They're both also bano. Zevach gufa minol. How do we know the Zevach is also bano? The chtiv it's samdul ba'apor v'yichlu ziv chemesi. When you get the ba'apor, this is looking they have to do with here. Call ziv chemesi. Ma meis also bano. Now enjoy a meis. Zevach nami also bano. Meis gufa minol. How do you know now enjoy a meis? As a shom megla ruvu. Tiv ochva tomos shom miriam. L'gabe miso. Tiv also vavu shom eseglo menachal. Ma la'olon also bano. Kanami also bano. It's also bano. Also minol. How do you know the roof is also bano? I mean, the very yane kapar k'tibik kachim. This kapar same you now enjoyed like kachim. Same thing over there. So in tomorrow's daf we're going to start with this, with the discussion of Tosfos of what is exactly the reason that we oiser the yain nesech and stam yainom. What's exactly the source? We'll start with that tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem.